I'm good at being friends but difficult having relationship. Why am I so good at being friends with girls but can't find a relationship? In a similar situation, I asked one of my girl friends. She told me I was too nice, that if I am interested in someone romantically, I should be direct and state what I want. I will tell you my reasons as a girl. 1. You're not my type physically. 2. We may get along for small talk and some fun activities. But I couldn't see myself living with you because we're too different in some ways. 3. You don't have your life together. 4. There are probably other reasons, but those were the main ones. I went on a couple dates with this girl I had been friends with some years. So we knew each other pretty well. Date went well, both of us had a good time. Also found her really attractive. Problem was that she was pretty religious and had some views and values that I just didn't agree with. I think it's important to find someone who values who you are and your views, and is also at least close to those same values themselves. As a guy who had to friend zone girls before, I definitely agree. Just because you vibe as friends doesn't mean you like them so much that you want to date them or potentially spend the rest of your life with them. Also, if there's no physical attraction, it's hard for the friendship to progress into something romantic. There are of course exceptions, but they're super rare and chances are you're better off moving on to someone else rather than waiting to get out of this friend zone. I do believe physical attraction can grow towards someone who isn't your type looks-wise through an emotional connection. And it isn't exactly rare, but it does depend on the person. When I say super rare, I mean getting out of the friend zone, for any reason. Not the possibility of getting in relationship with someone who didn't initially find you physically attractive. I'd much rather move on than keep chasing the same girl that clearly stated that they only want to be friends. True, but when you like someone like that, there are already hints of it. You may not realize at first, but there is something that would bring you back to that person and want to spend all your time with them. But this is not that. This is straight up, hey, you a nice person, we friends now and nothing is changing in that regard. Or, hey, you a nice person, but there is something about you I want to know more of. So it can devolve back to friendship or blossom into a relationship with the second one. But the first one is just straight up friendship, nothing changing about it. I'm sorry, this is a rant, I'm in a mood I guess. I've only ever dated to marry, so those red flags are insta friend zone. There's people who are fun to hang with, but not the kind you'd trust to mother your kids or share a bank account with, lol. So I guess that's my contribution to this conversation. Sometimes people are at different stages. Hookup culture folks aren't looking for long-term, and long-term don't want to marry hookup culture. Someone being reckless with their personal life is fine for a friend, but not as a marriage partner where you get to clean up the mess. I used to date to marry, but I realized in doing so, I would ignore red flags as I wanted a lasting relationship with that person. So I date to be happy, and in that way I'm not stressing about certain things. And I am able to grow with my current boyfriend, as we are both not at the stage of wanting to get married or start a family. Me, female 19, him, male 21. In like 3 days, we are with each other, as we enjoy each other's time and like to live in the moment. So we don't argue too much, as we are not nitpicky about, we understand we have lives outside of each other. But when we do hang out / go on dates, we enjoy each other's company and make time for each other. And he's very sweet and loving, and we understand each other's love language, as I enjoy talking and quality time, and he likes just spending time and cuddling. To clarify this, there are stages in a relationship. You start with getting acquainted and becoming friendly, but the undertone of attraction should always be present and refreshed, and quickly transition into subtle but clear romantic signals, such as touching, gazing, and flirtatious language. That makes it clear this isn't just two friends hanging out. Guys complain a lot of being put in the friend zone. when in reality they put themselves in the friend zone, and either waited too long to transition out, or never made the move at all. You should only be pure friends for maybe like 30 minutes. Just enough to see you have stuff in common and that you're fun and funny and not psycho. You have to take her along on the transition train orderly, but quickly as you read her signals. Wait too long and you could lose her. You could lose her. We are not in 1900 where the man needs to chase the girl. It's always you could lose her and never she could lose you. That's why I don't give a damn about dating. I want to find someone who wants to be with me, not just some girl who makes me try hard and walk on eggshells to not blow it up. Someone who really wants you, could spend an entire day with you, acting as a friend, and would still want you. Going for that is a good recipe for pursuing a bunch of women. That won't end up in any reciprocal romantic interest, which is fine if you want to make friends. I liked online dating because there was no bullshit "are we just friends?" stage. It's "I'm here to meet a romantic partner. If it doesn't work out that way, we can both move on." Exactly this. This try hard to get is so fucked up in every possible way. I'm okay with losing someone if they aren't really into me. I don't want to be the only one working for both our sake. Couldn't say it any better. This is where I fail every time. In my head it makes sense, but in the moment I feel like I'll be one of those dudes creating Me Too situations. I've had some weird reactions when I tried to hold a date's hand, which is hard to shake. If you handle rejection well, you'll never find yourself in a Me Too situation. If you make a physical move on her and she rejects it, just stop your advances. That's literally all it takes to avoid the creepy label. Also, you should really be escalating to something as intimate as holding hands. Touch her on the arm or shoulder to convey interest first. She will give you signals she wants that without even being conscious about it. When a woman I'm interested in starts playing with her hair, opening her body language, smiling a lot, holding a lot of eye contact, it's pretty much my green light to make a very safe physical move and express desire for her. I feel like most women say too nice, but what they mean is lacks confidence. And that doesn't mean learning to be a bad guy. It means learning to have enough confidence that you don't need to be customer service nice to everyone. I agree to this. Some of my male friends have liked me before, but they passed a short window of whether or not they are friend zone material or dating material. I think it's good to be direct. Some of my male friends have liked me before, but they passed a short window of whether or not they are friend zone material or dating material. Guy here, and I've never really understood this logic, to be honest. If I find a woman attractive initially, I'm still going to find her attractive a month later, 6 months later, etc., barring any major red flags. The reason you're struggling with understanding is because you assume women think like men. Women can see a handsome, fit man with a good career, be attracted, and have hope that he could be good relationship material, and be put off 100% within 4 sentences of conversation. The inverse also applies. A guy who has his life more or less put together, who isn't that attractive, but attraction grows significantly after a couple of conversations. At the core of this is the message men hear often but never manage to believe. Women don't care that much what you look like, personality is more important. I get that, and while I agree with that in general, that's not what she's saying, Imo. She's saying there's like a short period in which the window of possible attraction is open, and you have to squeeze through in time or poof, it's gone. That's the part I don't understand. If I meet a woman who isn't that attractive, but to whom my attraction grows significantly after a couple of conversations, that's not going to just suddenly disappear for me. I don't think this brief window thing is a hard and fast rule either, though. I'm a woman and will go through phases of being interested and not interested in certain guy friends, who I'm very attracted to, depending on whatever is going on in my life or theirs. I'm not interested in most of my guy friends, though. I will also not make a move on them. Generally speaking, In this kind of situation more than others, it would be more important for them to show some kind of interest. Because I would by and large be too scared to do it myself. It's unfortunately a lot more complicated and daunting to make a transition like this, when you're actually friends with someone and don't want to mess up what you have, if you really do have a deep friendship, but they passed a short window of whether or not they are friend zone material or dating material. This is the shittiest part about dating as a guy. You must unconditionally uphold this stable masculinity, or you aren't considered attractive. It's like any weakness a guy shows represents all potential weakness. A sad dichotomy is that while we are told about behaviors being toxic masculinity, all too often the men that avoid this find watch men displaying it. Getting rewarded with attention, relationships, one-night stands, etc. It's a misunderstanding. It's an overcompensation. And directness is confused with demeaning behavior. You don't need to be pushy, but you have to know what you want. Be clear about it, not subtle, and your intentions. This is way safer and more honest than the white knighting too many men drift towards when they want to avoid toxic masculinity. Nobody said confidence and communication is toxic. The easiest thought is the sex hormones and distinct dimorphism characteristics. Testosterone makes men act and look certain ways. Increasing those things will naturally lead to that type of guy having a better chance dating than without them. What's also interesting is how so many things like plastics in our environments, which are building up in our bodies, have an estrogenic effect. Poor diet does too. The list goes on, really. There's a reason sperm counts are wildly lower than just 50 years ago or so. I think it's funny that our culture seems to be inflating this sexism against men as such a complete norm. Meanwhile, men are weakening as far as testosterone and anything traditionally masculine about our normal ways. We're not as physical, another thing that makes us lower in testosterone. We're not around other men as much, and men's hangouts are often considered sexist. And being around other men leads to competition and testosterone increases, etc. This is the irony I feel. Women and what people call feminism is being twisted to weaken men in ways that make things harder for women. Women will be drastically more likely to prefer a real masculine man. Meaning everything weakening and shaming men is making the selection of males less attractive. I'm an idealist in a lot of ways, but I happen to feel like a lot of popularized stances held by women and progressives, and I consider myself progressive, happen to almost hit a parody level of absurdity. It's like the most extreme platitudes possible. Meanwhile, the men who succeed are just as I mentioned. Nothing to do with anything people talk about. In reality, we need a culture that can enhance testosterone in all the ways I bring up. But that doesn't mean we need to give up being better people. It doesn't mean we require sexism and looking down on women. Too nice is a stupid argument. What does she want? Someone who will treat her like shit all the time? It means that you don't have a backbone and don't make decisions for yourself. Most people who are too nice will change their plans for something menial that you want to do, or just putting anyone else at a higher importance than themselves. It's not because they're actually too nice and people don't like that. It's normally because they lack the confidence to do what they want to do. It's not fun to watch someone keep doing that to themselves. If you're picking a partner that presumably you want to stay with for a while, you want them to be happy too. And if they keep being too nice to people, and then get hurt when people don't reciprocate that back, it can be sad. Either that, or maybe they just don't want to hurt their feelings and say what they actually don't like for fear of repercussion. Because they aren't actually all that nice. Think nice guys. I've seen the too nice thing described with protecting a tribe too. A woman wants a man who's willing to get his hands dirty, or risk looking like an idiot to protect her and their children. That while being nice is good and all, you don't want to be so nice to the point where you sit back and let your loved ones fall victim to abusers or be taken advantage of. Sometimes you have to be mean when it comes to protecting people you care for. And that kind of behavior can be expanded onto society. Society needs men and women who are willing to be mean. If it means defending justice, ethics, and integrity. Can't just sit back and let the world screw you over. I have often indirectly been tagged as too nice. Being too nice cannot be the reason for me never getting into a relationship. If I really care for the person, I cannot just change my personality for the world. As a woman, I find it really off-putting, and creepy, when guys try to develop a platonic emotional connection hoping it will eventually lead to sex. If a guy is my friend for a year and then tries to confess his undying love, I'm not excited. I'm insulted. Because it feels like he didn't really value my friendship and only wanted the booty. Whereas someone who comes right out with what they want and what they're looking for, gives me the option to back out or move forward with that relationship, and neither of us have lost any time. Guys who act like they want to be a friend but are secretly waiting for me to be single or be drunk enough to throw them a bone aren't people I'd want a romantic relationship with, because they appear untrustworthy and two-faced. Just be upfront about what you want and walk away if we aren't aligned on the subject. Also, nice isn't a personality trait. It's the bare minimum. Being a good person absolutely will help to get you laid, but it can't be your entire persona. I'm nice, please bang me is desperate and drives women away. It depends on if you pursue them as well. It takes reciprocation. I have a really close guy friend I would love to be with. And he also has tons of female friends. But he never pursues, and he admits it. I mean, I'm definitely somewhat picky with who I pursue, but I definitely pursue girls. Usually I'll get a couple dates and they're optimistic cause they like me. But the attraction/chemistry isn't there, I think, at least. You need to act sexy. Feel sexy. Don't use that same mannerism you use when talking to one of your friends. Act like you are attracted to her sexually. Women want to feel wanted in that way. When a man is just acting like we're friends, it gives off a different vibe. Couldn't agree more with needing to feel sexy. I hadn't been dating at all for most of my early 20s. And it never felt like anyone was into me in the way I wanted them to be. Then at 25 I started a new hobby which I'm pretty good at. So when I joined a group for that hobby, my confidence shot up and I felt so much sexier. Since then I've been dating more and just generally having a much better time with it all. Everyone has to figure out what it is that makes them feel sexy. But once you do, everything becomes a lot easier and more natural. How do we exactly do that? For me, being friendly comes naturally even if I am attracted to a girl sexually. Do I need to stop overthinking and make my moves directly? I think you might have just solved my problem for me. Thanks. You should both know that before going on a date, whether you have chemistry. Since these are women you know and have met in person before asking them out. I wrote you a comment above on starting your flirting earlier in the process. It sounds like you're acting a smidge asexual, like romance is never on your mind. Hence why women don't even know you like them as more than a sister or buddy. I used to struggle with this, too. And then I learned to more clearly communicate my romantic/sexual intentions by introducing non-sexual touching/contact. Hugs, hello/goodbye, hand on shoulders/hips/back to gently redirect movement. Ooh, let's go this way, or get attention, wow, look at that. From there, sometimes it's an easy progression to hold hands. Gently readjust a stray hair out of her eyes or behind her ear. Place arm around her, examine or play with jewelry or accessories. Oh, what kind of watch is that? Or damn, those are some cool sunglasses, get in closer, etc. By the time I was 30, every first kiss I had was a natural progression from escalating physical contact. With clear signals going both ways that it's what we both wanted. Instead of spending time with them, go and make more time meeting new people. It's nothing personal. Not even necessarily physical. You're a nice guy, but it's just them trying not to put you down. Being a nice guy is pretty much the minimum for a decent relationship. If you bring nothing else that they're looking for to the table, why would they date you? How is increasing my standards going to help me? And I don't really ask girls I find nice enough. I need to get to know them first before I can get attracted to them. Edit. I'd be overjoyed if somebody even found me nice enough. Right, but what attracted you to them? They're fun? Smart? Good chemistry? Adorable? Well-driven? These are the things she brings to the table. People have lots of different things about them that every individual person will value differently. Not every positive trait a person has is something everyone is attracted to. And some traits are turn-on for people and turn-offs for other people. The woman you are attracted to brings whatever makes them attractive to you to the table. Even if you have good traits. If they aren't attracted to those traits or you are missing other traits they are attracted to, you aren't bringing the right things to the table for a relationship with that person. In my experience, most men do not handle brutally honest rejection well. Especially when it is because of their physical traits/appearance. The best, and safest course of action for women is to let them down gently. And whether I give them the "you're a great guy" speech or honestly tell them I think you're ugly, it isn't going to change the fact that I'm not interested in dating them, so does it really matter? They probably are just not attracted to you. It's not always about looks. There's a certain spark. I've had so many male friends who hoped for more. And it's just a shame I didn't find them attractive. Honestly wish I could have. Why are so many of you guys so convinced you're doing something wrong? You're not. It's just women look for a much broader spectrum of traits. And we don't get to choose what that X factor is. It's just there or it isn't. So keep going on dates. Keep letting them see who you are. And if they want to be friends, take that as a huge compliment. When it feels right you can ask them what was missing. And most times it'll be a feeling. Being considered unattractive by everyone you have interest in is a huge compliment. Please stop. Some men like me are the handy person type. We see something not working, then there must be something wrong with it. So we try to find the root of the problem so we can fix it. I'm guessing this is what's going on in Op's mind too. It's a very useful mindset, lots of career opportunities. Even a very substantial trait necessary to maintain an ongoing relationship. But, yeah, I do admit it's not useful for starting a relationship. Probably because of what people have been trying to tell you. You're coming off as too clingy/attached way too soon. Simple. Stop being clingy and attached. Don't text all day long. Don't call every day. Make plans for a date a couple days out. Check in once or twice a day, have brief and fun text convos. But don't drag them out to hours long. Don't respond immediately after she texts. Show interest and be interesting, but don't be too available or come off too eager. Make what you want known. A lot. I think you're great. I really like you. But don't let that be the only topic of conversation. Do things that you enjoy during the day, so that you have other cool things to talk about during the date. Be somebody who enjoys his own company and endeavors, so that she'll be eager to enjoy those things with you. Be flirty but not creepy. Make it clear that you are more than just a friend to her, but again, don't let that be the exclusive focus of the conversation. It's also kind of hard to give advice since none of us actually know what you are doing and how you are interacting with these women. So maybe you should add more information in the post so folks have something to work with. I text them once every other day and have a convo with them. Not really a calling person. I have a successful job and am usually pretty occupied. So don't have time to text 24/7 and I definitely make my intentions known. I could maybe be better about flirting/teasing/complimenting. But I usually try to leave that for the dates. I think my problem might be that I don't get physical fast enough. And let things stagnate. Usually go 2 dates without initiating anything physical at all. I think all people in general. If you like someone, you gotta let it be known in ways that still give them an out. That way it's a two-way street, that way it doesn't feel overwhelming. I'm super into you and really want to spend time with you. But also I'm a well-rounded person with an interesting life. And you deciding you aren't into me won't be the end of the world. Hopefully we can connect. That's the vibe we all want to establish. Ask your girlfriends to set you up. Ask them to help you get girls. You'll either get lots of new girls or one of them will step forward as having a crush. It doesn't have to seem desperate, you really just need their help. This is great advice, no risk at coming off weird or making any current friendships weird. And most women like setting people up so they'll be excited about it. The general lack of information and the vagueness of your question is leading to plenty of terrible answers. So in the interest of adding at least one more, we'll take a stroll through your comment history to see if we can piece together something a bit more relevant. You have plenty of replies on a deleted thread right here 2 days ago with the title, "Why do I get attached so quickly?" I can only assume it was your post based on the threads. One person responded that you sound desperate and clingy. To which you replied, "I know I'm like this, so I tend to be pretty good at hiding it. And if things don't move along as fast as you want, it shows through." Another solid point is a response stating to stop basing your self-worth on if you're in a relationship. And your reply of, "When it doesn't work out it kinda affects my confidence a little." We'll go ahead and skate past the deleted post about why are girls so confusing. That you have a bunch of defensive and accusatory responses already. Now trolling through this thread to fish up some choice commentary. We've got, "I'm definitely somewhat picky with who I pursue. I might be ahead of my age for how I'm trying to do this." Another, "I've got pretty high standards and am pretty picky." And several in the vein of, "Young and recently started dating. Frustrating when it happens over and over." All this combined with an extremely defensive vibe when responses point the blame at you for being less than a perfect option. So based on what little I have to go on, your trouble stems entirely from being a shallow individual with little to offer after a second date. You try to cover it up by being nice, yet it quickly leaks through that you're looking for someone else to validate your existence. You're well on the way to nice guy territory with the attitude you're currently presenting. You have attachment issues, confidence issues, and come across as defensive. If you don't get praise or the blame isn't shifted onto these confusing women, add into that, you lose interest if the relationship doesn't progress fast enough for your liking. Which I'm going to assume means you don't get sex after putting in 2 date tokens. It doesn't take these women more than 2 dates to realize you haven't got much to offer. My advice is to stop dating and figure yourself out. Relationships don't complete people, they add to them. Having a girlfriend won't fill the holes you have in life. Pretty close. Except I think I'm more validating to myself. I can have a relationship, never have had one before. And this makes me a little clingy, which then leads to the relationship ending. And my self-confidence taking a hit. So kinda a cycle. But yes, I am taking a break from dating. I've been in your place before. If you want to date exceptionally attractive people, which I believe is what you're referring to by having high standards, you need to be attractive, and being naturally confident in your interactions is a strong component of that attractiveness. Turning yourself into a lapdog at the earliest opportunity is quite the opposite. Stop nurturing friendships with people if you are harboring unrequited feelings for them. It's just going to cloud your judgment and cause you to miss or dismiss people that might actually be interested in you, and lower your standards. You're weighting physical attractiveness too heavily in a person's value to the relationship. And since you lack experience, your low confidence shows through and quickly disqualifies you. If you've got a long list of deal breakers, eliminate as many as you can. Finally, as others have said, don't approach a relationship like it's the key to happiness. See, this is some advice I give to other men. It is not wrong to be nice, but there's a difference between being nice and being a pushover. Make your intentions clearer sooner maybe, or if there's one you're keen on, try to get more one-on-one time. The friend zone does exist and it happens to both sexes. I know a few girls that are good friends of mine, but were interested romantically at some point. Don't be aggressive or too direct, but make sure that you're flirting and expressing your sexual attraction to them. If they don't reciprocate, then respect their feelings and let them go. Don't keep them around as friends, you're not in it for friends. Like you said, you already have plenty of female friends. More often than not, what girls tell you they want and what they actually respond to are totally different. Most women want to be with a guy they deem to have an interesting life, hobbies, friends, etc. Also, make your intentions clear up front. You'll have more dating success being bold with what you want and moving on if it's not reciprocated. Settling for friendship when you really want more is disingenuous, and they probably can sense this as well. If you like a girl, build attraction and tension, as well as friendship. You can be a great person and a great friend. But if she's not attracted to you, then she'll never view you that way. Familiarity is anti-seductive. Focus on you, build an interesting life, develop options, be busy with something other than them. They'll notice, and you'll exude a different level of confidence and self-esteem. Thanks for watching my video. Hope y'all find good methods for yourself.